Starting. Okay, hello. Hi, everyone. I can see you're all connecting. You can connect your camera if you're comfortable. You can also connect your audio, please. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We are still admitting people. I'm Ceci. I'm part of the AWIT team. I'm very happy to be hosting this session. We've been working with Shirley for a couple of months on this presentation, so I hope you like it. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I can see almost you all have audio connected. Please mute your lines while we are doing the presentation. We will have a space for conversation. We have a breakout room plan for mid-session. Okay, I think we have everyone here. There's no one else in the waiting room. Let me check. Hi, Melanie, I can see you. Thank you for joining. How are you? Okay, so I think we are ready to go. Everyone is online. I think all the lines are muted. As I said before, my name is Ceci Mansisha. I'm part of the AWIT team, and we are very, very excited to have you all here. This is our first session. Tomorrow we have a second one with Nancy Wang about job interviews. You're also invited to join. And today we are talking about career transitioning. And first of all, while I keep accepting people, thank you all. We have a lot of people. This is amazing for us. We are advancing women in tech. We are women that help other women to scale. We are a nonprofit organization. And again, we are running workshops, webinars. We have our online courses. We are planning a ton of events for next year because our commitment is to close the gender gap in the technology industry. That's what we do here, and we are very excited to have you all here. Yes, Tarun, the session will be recorded and we will be sharing a link. You can also join our newsletter in our website, advancingwomenintech.org. There you can join the newsletter where we will be sharing all the materials and a lot of additional information. I can see we have more people in the waiting room. And now I want to present to all of you Shirley Deng. Shirley, are you there? Can you hear me? Yes?
Hi, everyone.
We can hear you well. Thank you so much for joining. She's an amazing professional. She's been part of AWIT for a very long time. She's a mentor. She's our partnerships head. And today she will be sharing her experience transitioning careers, but also teaching us her own personal strategies and tips and tricks. So if you're thinking on transitioning, this is the session. Hi, Shirley, are you ready to start?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Cici, for having me, and really excited to start this session. This is Shirley, and my current role here at Meta is a strategic product partnerships lead. I'm leading a very small team and working on business messaging products. I was born in the city called Guangzhou or Canton, based in China 30 plus years ago. And now I'm talking to you from a West Coast city called San Carlos in the US. So let me tell you how I get here and how did I get to where I'm here today. As you can see, like from the slide here, this is a layout of my last 10 plus years of career in front of you since I graduated from college. I still remember the really hard choice I made between the offers of a well-developed corporation who had products I'm really familiar with and a startup in an area that I have no clue about. I chose the latter. I joined a startup in a gaming company in China because I was young and I thought I had nothing to lose and thought I kind of like, and also was like, because I was talking to the leaderships at the moment of time of the startup, I was looking for what I could learn from them. And I started being a project manager or program manager, being an executive assistant to the CEO and helping him to manage different teams of gaming development teams, and to kind of become a product manager myself later and a producer for the gaming studio. I was exposed to the gaming world outside of China, and then I wanted to learn more. And that's why kind of like I felt like I was not a good enough leader, even though I was leading a team at a very young age of my time. And I wanted to know about the outside world. I wanted to learn better structural management learnings. And US has a lot of good schools, have great reputations about management courses and curriculums. That's why I came to the US in 2014 for my MBA, and I got a dual degree and in Master of Science, Information Systems. During the summertime of my first year MBA, I accepted an internship offer for venture capital firm in Silicon Valley for the cross-border fund, who was investing both China and US, kind of like the cross-border investments. That was the first time I got exposed to the Silicon Valley culture and really inspired by the kind of like innovation and also a lot of like startup spirits. I was busy going to demo days, learning about the great opportunities here, and then and learning about what would be good for the fund and what would be good not to be for the fund, and then what type of investments we should be looking into to take more of our time and resource. I was really inspired by the adventurous spirit in the world and really enjoyed the Californian sunshine. And that was kind of the reason that I decided not to stay in Boston and then move over to the Silicon Valley when I graduated from my MBA. And again, when I graduated, before I graduated, was about the time to decide where I want to go. I faced the hard choice between a US startup and a Chinese corporation to be based here in the US. And this time I made the latter choice to join a corporation and to start a business here in the US, because this time I had something to lose. Being an immigrant myself, I wanted to be kind of be a more secure position. And one of the key reasons I accepted the role at WeChat is because WeChat was very strong in China, but they were just starting out in a lot of Western countries. And this is the best opportunity for me to learn how to do business here in the US. And then while playing my strength, my language, culture, understanding of the product, and also kind of understanding how I could be able to really adapt into the world that I'm still not really familiar with, thinking about I'm only got to the US in 2014. And while I was getting more and more hands-on on my product, on my work, and then kind of being doing a lot of marketing and partnerships and business development, the one key thing that kind of circling around in my network is everyone was talking about machine learning, AI, and it was really popular, and I had no clue what that was about. I had some spare time, and I really want to kind of make sure that I understand what I've been talking about and what I'm talking with people. That's why I decided to join a part-time master degrees at Berkeley, and then to study Master of Data Science. And then I struggled through 2.5 years with it. And then I got my master's degree from UC Berkeley in 2020. And learn a lot about what is machine learning, what is data science, learn about a lot of structure, understanding about the world of data science and why this is important for our world, and decided I don't want to be a data scientist, even though it's really great to learn from everything. Then I joined Meta in 2021 to be a product partnerships manager. And that was because I want to continue to do what I'm really good at doing, building the developer ecosystem. I had a lot of knowledge from my work from my past couple years in WeChat doing business messaging. And my vision really plays into what Meta wanted to hire me for. And my interest in working with really smart people and also building the confidence that I can adapt well into the US corporations. And there I am. Next. So as you can see from this slide, my career has transitioned from a lot of different roles. Like I started as a special assistant to the CEO and helping him to manage projects and different teams. And then I took on my own team to work on product management. When I joined WeChat, I started working in marketing and then evolved more into business development. And now I'm working on product partnerships. So this kind of all these 10 years of career on these transitions, they were primarily driven by one, the opportunity that kind of in front of me. Second, primarily because of the interest and also the moment where I felt I have the most energy and the actual work that I will be doing that I felt really excited about. So let me talk about them one by one. The first role that got me into the day-to-day of team operations, and my goal was to ensure the game launched in time. There's no matter what change, we need to catch a time of the market to win the audience over, and it's all about delivery in time and be disciplined about the trade-offs that is in project management, ensuring that the product it's working well, and then we have to make a hard trade-off when the product or the gaming is going to be launched in time, which is really transferable to product management, to be honest. Then I got the opportunity to actually manage the whole product team and then build a game product from scratch. I further learned that in product management here, it's more about solving a unique problem. And first, you have to really understand what is the problem that you are trying to solve and why will your audience find your game interesting and willing to pay to play. And making trade-off between building from a foundation or hard coding something that might get scratched and test the market later. And then also kind of understand where you find your audience and hook them from the get-go. So the last one, later in my career, when I'm doing marketing, I found it really kind of transferable to the marketing role, that understanding where you find the audience and how you play, kind of understanding the overlap between your product and your target audience, and then test out the product market fit. And that is where kind of how these two are really related together. And my experience and strength in product got me into a role in marketing at WeChat. In marketing, we talk about campaigns all the time, and you find the best combination of partnerships, timing, channel, events to achieve the best exposure for achieving your goal, whether it's selling a product or attracting new partners, or that is also really similar to business development, kind of hey, how do you be able to make sure when you starting on a campaign, something that I often heard about, whether it's planning for a marketing campaign or planning for a partnership deal, is think about what is the PR headline would be when you close the deal. Does the PR headline excite you? Does it make sense? And then how do you, or you feel nothing? And that throughout my career has always, I felt a strong interest in product management. And then I feel throughout my whole career, nothing can live without product. You cannot sell something if you don't have a product. You cannot build a relationship. It's not starting from a product. But I'm not sure, I really want to do the day-to-day job as a PM role. So that is something kind of I always trying to make this trade-off and then debate with myself. I also really enjoy the relationship building elements in business development and partnerships, and that really got into my current role in product partnerships. So this is kind of a really quick summary of how I make these transitions and then why. Next, I want to tell the story about imposter syndrome and then how do I build my confidence over time. First of all, I'm an immigrant. As in my last kind of couple slides, I only came to the US in 2014, and that was the first time I came here. English is not my native language, and my friend once sent me a meme, said that, do you know how smart I am when I speak it in my own language? That really applies to me. sometimes that you feel like I'm losing the words, I don't know how to express myself. And then also I came from China, and we have really different culture, like Eastern, Western culture, very different. And when I was brought up, I was always in kind of like being taught to be humble and don't speak up unless you really know what you're talking about. And that has a lot kind of like conflicts or culture shocks with the culture here. There are many, many other reasons that I always feel that I am not good enough when I compare myself to my peers. I felt very lucky that I found the AVID community. And then I found many smart women who share their stories and inspire me. And I found my mentor and buddies that I got to practice a lot of like product management, case interviews, skills, even though like I was not trying to like get into a PM role, but those practice and those sharing together really helped to sharpen my analytic skills and learn to express my thoughts in very short amount of time. When I finally joined Meta, yes, I felt many, many interviews in the past that like I got rejected many times before I finally joined this company. I thought I must be really lucky to be hired, and they might make a mistake, or like they might just like feel like they in our training material in day one. The first lesson is about imposter syndrome. And the story is you're not alone. What I really find really helpful for me is there's a concept called new, that you are someone new. And then so it's kind of like understandable that you don't know something. And you can always play the new card. Hey, I have a new question. I have like a really dumb question that I want to raise, or like, I'm sorry, I don't have all the context. I'm completely new here. And this is where the company kind of like really promote this culture, like to like there's no dumb questions being asked. And then my manager also like helped me, hey, your new car, it's not one car, it's a deck of cards, and you can keep playing it even though you are on your third year in the company already. That really, really helps. And just like while you feel like you can be humble and then there's a lot of things that you don't know, speak up. And then with the context that, sorry, I don't know everything that's happening, but please educate me, please tell me more. And that really, really helps. And whenever you are unsure about something, like this is AVID community is a great community for you to share your story and then build connections and see like this is not just happening to you, it's happening to everyone. And then even like sometimes like we have a lot of acronyms in the companies that we don't understand what is going on. Like remember my first day joining the company, I was like, my English must be really bad because I don't understand a lot of acronyms, because the company loves to use acronyms. But I talked to my Native American friends, like who are born to speak English, like, oh, this is same to us. This is just a company thing. It's not just you. It's not a language thing. That made me feel so much better. So finding alliance really, really helps. So the next, I really kind of like want to share like in my career transition, like what are the key learnings? Number one, which is always very helpful for me, is keep looking for mentors. You can always find someone who you can learn from officially or unofficially, and then be grateful about their time and energy. Anyone you can find to learn something from can be your mentors. I can share two examples. There's long time ago, actually like over 3 years ago, there in the AVID community, I saw someone posting about, oh, I want to find someone to do a pairing in practicing PM case interviews. So I connected with that woman and also another guy from India. And then we were paired together, kind of like schedule our own time, and then I find some case interview online, and then we practice by ourselves, like test our execution, test our analytics, test out those things, just like on a weekly conversations together. And even though she has 10 more years, careers ahead of me, but when we were practicing this together, like we learn from each other on comparing notes. Then later, we don't need to have these sessions anymore. One is also because like we move out of like this practicing, and then she got the role she really wanted. And then I asked her, hey, I really enjoy working with you. And then I know that you are like doing some mentoring sessions like in HBS. Can you become a mentor? Because I really admire like your knowledge, and then you have so much like experience ahead of you. There's a lot of things I can learn, and I really appreciate like the time and effort they put into. So like I offer to pay her, and then at the rate that we both agree. And also I kept like sending her gift and every like acknowledgement that like time she's spending with me. So we still have this engagement on a monthly or like bi-weekly basis, depending on like what other topics I want to talk about. And it really helps to kind of like share notes about like talk about the things that I really concern. And even though there's no immediate solutions coming out, it's really helpful to have someone to talk to, and then they can share their experience with you. So that's one. My second one is, when I was doing a business development, I was trying to get in touch with a director who was in the company that I want to get in touch with. And then he told me that, oh, actually, I already left the company, but then I have a lot of history with the company. So let me know if there's anything I can help, or like anything that you want to get information about. So I took out his offer. The conversation was happening on LinkedIn messages. So I took out his offer. I was like, that's great. Even though you're not in the company anymore, I really want to kind of like continue to learn from you. I think like you are a great person. We kind of connected in the past. You're a great person. So can we talk? And then so he's like, great. I'm happy to like mentor anyone if they feel the need. So starting from there, I offered to pay him again. He said, no, I don't need money. I just enjoy the relationship together. So we continue to have monthly conversations for over a year. Again, I really appreciated like everything. So I invited him to my wedding, and then like sending gifts like whenever it's holidays, really like recognize like everything like he provided on suggestions. Like we just have a lot of like monthly conversation, talk about, oh, I'm confused about this business development. How do you build a team? Oh, like there is something that I wonder, being a leader, what are the things that the key characteristics you feel is really important? And sometimes those informations provide me a really great reference. Either it's helping me to shape my own thinking, or just preparing an interview. I find those sessions really, really interesting. So what I want to say in these two examples is like, you can always like find mentors. It doesn't have to be like really official ones. And then anyone that you can build a relationship with, that would be really helpful. And what I learned throughout the process is like, in your work every day, not just mentors, you can find your buddies, like either buddies in your companies that you feel you have the interest, the same vision on doing something together. They could be your day-to-day like work colleagues together, or they can be your buddies like in your network that you just want to pull together a weekend study group, talking about the problems that you have like in the company, and do role plays to talk about something that you really confused about, and then how they would deal with these situations. And the third one is, throughout the whole process, whether you are thinking about transitioning into a new career or not, owning your learning is something that you must take on your own. No one would take responsibilities, not your manager, not your parents, not your friends, not your like significant others. That you need to own like, what are the things that you really want to kind of like continue to work on. And a great thing about imposter syndrome is that you don't need to feel bad about you are not good enough, but that gives you a good hint about what are the things that you feel like you should continue to improve. Either it's your language skill, either it's like something that you feel like someone you observe, they are much better than you, why they are better than you, and whether this is something that you want to learn from. I was really, one of the reasons I took out a part-time master degree at Berkeley was because I felt like my school was not good enough, my MBA. and I don't know what they are talking about in machine learning or like AI. So I took on my own learning to like, hey, maybe going for a degree is like too much. I'm not recommending that. But then like kind of like put a time to commit yourself, like how do I commit myself to the learning, and then make sure that this is something that I invest in myself. The last point I want to mention, focus on experience, is no matter what role, what company you are in, you will always be unhappy about something. You will always feel like this is not what I'm expecting, or like this is like every company, no matter where, or even in. So when I discussed this with one of my mentors, I said that, hey, I joined this company because like all the hypotheses, all the great inspirations I have in my mind or like in my vision. But by the end of the day, there will be a lot of things that you can't change the leadership, you cannot change this and that. He said that one thing is really important to me. He said that focus on experience. Focus on like what you want to get out of in this role. Think about from the very beginning why you want to join this company, and then what is the things that you feel like in your control and then you'll get out of. You want to experience like being in the US company and then we can like work like to like stack up your career ladder here. You want to learn about like how to work with a cross-functional team that is so spread out across the globe. You want to kind of beginning to building your own like product knowledges and everything. So those are the things that are in your control, and those are the things that will make you more kind of like satisfied, and instead of like being distracted away from a lot of things that you cannot control. Think about like rumors about a company or like other people talking about like this and that. Those are the things that will definitely distract you and also hurt morale. So focus on experience really helps me to kind of like make me to focus on myself. And that also helps you when you're making options, when you're making choices. That is really important on like what is that thing really matters to you. Next. So here, I was kind of like going through there are a lot of choices. As I mentioned that I face many different career choices in my life, and I have to choose like between startups and corporate offers twice in my life, and then make my choice like different in different scenarios. First of all, talking to people definitely really helps. Talking to people you trust, and then they can provide you a diversified opinions. But however, by the end of the day, it's your life, your choice, and the people's opinion can only be opinions. So they might be reference to you to help you like to weigh your choices. However, for me, I found a mechanism that really helps me, and I hope that it helps you. So next, it will be like more like a structure, like how I was putting my struggles here. So this is what I really use when I was like weighing my different career options. Use an example as I recently, actually like half a year ago, when I was making a really tough decision on whether I want to move team inside the company. I want to completely change my career structure to partnerships to PM, or stay in my current team. So I talked to a lot of people, and by the end of the day, like after I got all the information I feel like I put it into option 1 and option 2 and option 3. And then like instead of making a really complicated table, this is really the table I use. It's like what are the things I'm excited about, which is the pro of the option, and then what are the things I'm really concerning about, which is the con of the options. And I highlighted like option 1, 2, 3, really just like simple bullet points, like what are the things that I really think are beneficial in those options. And after doing those, like in option 1, option 2, option 3, I further bolded the highlights which really important to me, and help me to kind of like see through, oh, actually like what are things that are really important, and what are things that really concerns about me, and how they outweigh each other. And I believe like this will be like a really helpful. It helps me a lot when I was making decisions. And at the end, I decided to stay in my current team, and I strive for like a I believe it's a really great choice for myself. And then even though I continue to leave my other options open, but this really helps me to like reduce my anxiety and then putting a really structured and clear view in front of me and feeling like, okay, I make a really mindful and analytic conclusions, decisions on it. So during the decision-making process, what I really learned as I was talking to a lot of people, it's helpful always to keep your options open. Don't be kind of like sticky to like what you have right now. And what I also find really helpful is when I talking to all the people that I trust, one thing they really help me, they always said that prioritize on yourself. I know that in your company, it might be very important to say that loyalty sometimes is like they care a lot, or like you want to be show that you are loyal to your team, loyal to your manager. But what I heard from my friends and also like people who really cares about me, they said that put those shit aside and prioritize yourself. Prioritize like really what matters to you. And during the process, it's really kind of like, don't be shy and discover what you can get by negotiation with like the different options and see like what is the most that you can get and what type of promises potentially you can get. And those can be upsides or potential downsides of your options. Like they promise you something, but they said that, well, this might be like in the next 12 or 18 months, they can actually be a potential concern for what is the problems compared with like the other options you have. And then you can evaluate all the options and be really practical on expectations. Like don't take all the words like whoever told you as like a whole, but really see like how practical that is going to come through. And by the end of the day, even you already like make your decisions, still keep your options open, keep looking. Like no one can stop you from looking for other jobs, even though you're really happy from today's position. And you can always like evaluate what is your market value out there and see like what other things like tomorrow, next month might happen. So we will never know. This is also kind of like whoever cares about you, they will always tell you that prioritize yourself and keep your options open. Don't feel bad even like you made the decisions already and then you want to go back to other choices. So next, I want to talk about kind of like a career transition strategy that also really helps me when I was in the mode of like looking for new roles or looking for new jobs. So first of all, there's like two stages. One is strategy development and the other part is like job search executions. In the first part, understand learning about yourself is the most important. Like really understand like what am I good at? And then what do I want to do? It's the self-assessment part. Like really trying to lay out from your past experience, what are the good experience that you already had in the past you want to continue with? And then try to find the overlap between what you feel excited about and then what you feel like you want to be able to do, and put together like what you are not satisfied about and then what you want to get out in your next career or next role. And then when you do the market explorations here, it's not to look for job searches yet. A really good practice I have learned from my own experience and working with my mentor is take a look at all the job posts out there, regardless the company, regardless of the location, regardless the role is still open or not. Don't pay attention to those. Don't assume that you're going to apply those roles, but just like really look into all those roles and see what are their responsibilities and skill requires in those roles. And that really helps you to kind of like lay out, like put together a list of the potential job titles and also like jobs that you feel like those are the responsibilities and skills required have a good match with your self-assessment. And that is the market exploration part, to like understand what is potential out there, but you are not applying to those roles. So you have much less like stress about like, I'm actually going to apply for them because it's not relevant at this stage. And then only after that, you kind of like put into a really clear picture, understanding like what am I good at? And then what are the potential kind of like responsibility that I'm really feel excited about and what I can do. Then you go into the job search execution phase. That also has two parts in it. One is like hypothesis development and then networking. Like the hypothesis development is really trying to understand the buyer process, like who are the employers, and then like kind of like what is the hiring process be looking like for your target companies. And I think there's some status about like 60 to 70% of accepted jobs, they come from networking as opposed to online job posts. And then 70% of the resumes is submitted to post jobs are eliminated for the consideration basis on your keywords by recruiters immediately. So that's why like really understanding kind of like the keywords and how you play into your own self-assessment is really important. And in that phase, you should really align with your own self-assessment and the market aspirations, kind of like trying to mitigating what is the common part into the jobs that you are thinking you're looking for, with tendencies of like, don't pursue the job on the wrong reasons, such as like, I want to win the contacts, or like, I want to like some really conventional wisdoms on things that is not important to you. And develop a narrative that explain that how your interests, your skills and talents are relevant to the set of the employers and active contacts in your network to represent like what is kind of like the hidden job market out there. And then at the end, the goal of networking is really to gather information that will validate your professional hypothesis, like networking in the serious conversations that like have subject matter experts who can inform you in your job search or like maximize your outcome. And one example here is one of my mentors. I connected with him for the reason I want to know how business development works in his previous company, because I want to get into that company. But I didn't tell him the reason that I had the conversation because of that. So I poke a lot of those questions like, how do you think about like your day-to-day work? I confused about like what is the strategy I should put together, and how do you think about the leadership characteristics should be played out in your role when you were in that company, and then why that is such a difference from others. All those conversations I took in and then sharpened kind of like my response when it comes to the interview questions that happens. And those will be really, really helpful like informations to get when you're doing networkings. Like be mindful and be kind of like proactive in thinking about what is the information I want to get out beyond saying hi and having like coffee chats like for no purpose. And that will really, really help you, and then also like save a lot of time of the others. So I feel like I have talked a lot and there's a lot of like questions I put together here. I think it will be really, really helpful for us to kind of like into breakout rooms and have people to kind of talk about like your quick reflections. One thing it really helps me are these questions are like really think about what is your dream job, like without any like limits, like what is missing from your current role, and then how do you see your next job, and what's holding you back, how can you be more effective, and then what is the single most important upgrade you can get for your next job, and then have like a group discussions together. And when we come back, we'll talk about like some tricks to sharpen your resume, and also some tips to sharpen your like 1-minute pitch skill to talk about what you are good at. I'll put it back to Cici.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you have here a QR code that you can scan, so you have access to all the questions. I'm opening the breakout rooms now. Networking community is part of our soul, is what we do. So take advantage of this. We will do 5 minutes instead of 7 because we do not have that much time left, but I'm opening the rooms now, so feel free to join. Hello, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. Cici, do you think that we can ask someone to like share the experience, or we just okay? Anyone who want to really share like your quick reflections or like what you just share in the small breakout room?
I could go because Mary inspired me to share my story more. But I think so. I'm a stay-at-home mom right now, and I have not been working for 5 years. But my background is I have about 5 years in product management with back-end integration systems, and I really kind of geek out on APIs. So, I guess I undersell myself a bit because I studied English, and I say I'm not technical, but I am able to really understand the technical integrations for all the products that we have to integrate to for payments and identity management. So it's a pretty technical role. And I think I don't know what I want to do next, but product management is calling me. I do enjoy it. I think it's a self-confidence issue. So this this session here has been super helpful to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. I see Mary at Pretty to share something.
Yes, so I'll go, Preeti here. So I was just telling Mary about my experience. So I'm largely coming from manufacturing sector, and just recently, about a year ago, I joined a consulting firm, and I got a very good project, which I always wanted to do in product management in a global CPG company. And what is kind of holding me back is my limited knowledge in the tech sector, and because I'm new, so there are a lot of things which I feel I can do better in terms of stakeholder management, especially managing up. I'm good with the teams. However, because of the knowledge and not having enough confidence to apply anywhere else, I'm feeling kind of stuck, and I don't know how to navigate through and build my confidence and speak in the language which is which kind of, conveys a message that, okay, you are having a lot of grip around the industry jargons and all of that. So yeah, I'm honored to, be able to share my story here, and look forward to some, nuggets of advice from you all here.
That's awesome. We really encourage everyone to like stay connected, like even like after the sessions. There's a lot of like very smart people here. And then this is a community that we really want to like help people and share the story, and then like being able to find inspired and continue. So this is great. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Who else want to volunteer and talk? Cici,
I can see a question. Yes, I can see a question regarding our Slack community. We are relaunching everything. We have a new website, a new system. We will have online courses, events, of course, the community, then targeted community. So you can join us at advancingwomenintech.org. Join the newsletter there, and on January, mid-January, you will be receiving all the new accesses. You will have your own user ID, and you will be able to access a ton of information and materials that we are preparing for you.
Thank you, Mary, for the messages. Don't sell yourself short. Don't take yourself out of the process. Let the company make the decision. Don't do that. You may know the main domain yet in the jargon, but knowledge can be acquired. This is really, really helpful. So I want to quickly answer the question for Mary for the self-assessment part and the market exploration part that we talk about. It can go either way. My personal suggestions is like what works the best for you. I actually started from like listing out my personal kind of like skill sets, that what I think I'm really good at. And then when you look into like all those like personal your advantage and what are the things that make you excited about in general, and make it into a more specific skills that you can be transferable, and see that how that plays into and overlaps into the next role that you're looking for, whether you can continue to do that. Because I believe like everything that you have acquired so far, they can be something like really personal to you. And you don't have to kind of like be limited to like the traditional skills that you have from your previous jobs. I hope that makes sense. So the next, this is like what I learned a lot. Like for me, I'm not a native English speaker, so I got a lot of people's help to like really like sharpen my resume wording. And the RACR method is kind of like a really good way to like sharpen your language. It's called like results, action, context, and then come back to results. So kind of like you can see like how the results are being like put in here, and then like together, like you enable the team. Sorry, it's actually the blue and the purple is not the same color. It's the blue color is the result, that what you can do, and then by doing something, and then what is the context under the situation, then you bring out what kind of like impact from the result. So when you writing your resume, trying to be succinct, and then so putting all this context information in one place, and that is really good method on like make your bullet points more effective and more outstanding to talk together everything that you have been able to achieve. Next. So when you're we have a really good session coming tomorrow. Cici is tomorrow with Nancy. It's like interview strategy, and this is just like a preview about like the framework that being used really well. It's the STAR framework. and it's being used by a lot of the companies, kind of like talk about the situation and then quickly talk about like what is the task that you're being able to kind of like complete, including the expectations and challenge, and mention about what did you do, what is your action, and what kind of result you kind of like end with, including like the accomplishments and rewards and impact. Really practice this framework and then lay out like 1, 2, 3, what are kind of like the situation that you're facing, and then what is the result that you bring out because of your action, and bring that back with your interviewer when you are doing the interview. And this really helps the interviewer to kind of like take into notes and then provide structured feedback when they are considering you for your role, for the feedback. And then for myself, I personally find it really, really helpful when I'm doing mock interviews, like with my friends together, and then see like how much information my friend is getting out and how they can kind of like make sense or get confused. And if you have the opportunity inside your company, I find it really helpful to actually take on interview sessions to like interview others like for potential roles in your company. And when you're in that seat, you're talking to like the candidates, you're really trying to understand like, oh, actually what are the things that they're missing, and play that to yourself. And then it's really, really helpful on like prioritizing and then understanding kind of like how you can improve yourself and then be able to reflect on it as well. And of course, this is just a framework and it takes a lot of practice. Next, I will hand it back to Cici.
Yes, thank you so much, Shirley. I think we cover all the questions that we have in the chat. I might just left the link for you to enroll for tomorrow's session that we have an Ask Me Anything with Nancy. Nancy One is our founder, and she's from AWS. So it will be a very interesting session. It's related to our Acing the Product Management interview course that we have in Coursera. And I have another question. Does anyone know of a good meetup or community or online platform to be able to practice interviews, to do mock interviews? I like the 5-minute breakout rooms. We will have that in our community as well. And then I do not know any specific community for interviews. Shirley, do you happen to know anyone?
I think it can like best to start from your friends, and then specifically there's a lot of like good resource online when you try to find like product management interviews that you can see a lot of resource. There's one called there's one book I really recommend. It's called PM Interview. It's literally saying cracking the PM interview. That is a book that I highly recommend to read through. And then there's like a couple, when you search online, there's a lot of like resource online that definitely can help you. And then depending on what other things that you're interested in, whether you're just trying to find a case or you're actually trying to like find examples, like I believe like there's a lot of great resource out there.
Yes, in our LinkedIn site, you can also find the material that we prepare for job seekers, where you have a ton of information on how to prepare for an interview. There is a question from Melanie. Shirley, do you suggest taking contract jobs to get experience with transitioning jobs?
I'm not sure I'm in the position to answer this one. Again, I will recommend you kind of like compare the pros and cons into like a contracting role versus a full-time job. And like the most obvious like concern might be like for the contracting role that you might not be able to get the level of like the details or like sufficiency into the actual role you're taking. Right. However, for the cons of the full-time job is like it won't be able that easy to get into. So it depends on like what you really want in the short term versus long term. Again, it's kind of like a trade-off that you want to make for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think we answer. Do you recommend going for a degree program, 6 months or so for product management?
I regretted halfway through when I was doing my DS degree. First of all, it's really costly for me, and second, like halfway through, I realized I don't want to be a data scientist. But then I didn't regret when I got the degree for the reason because I knew myself. If I just take on a Coursera course, it might not get me anywhere because I might give up. Like if I actually put the commitment, the money, and every resource in it, I have to force myself to finish through. And that was my kind of like my story to myself. So to you, there's a lot of way for you to learn about product management. There could be like some 3-month like boot camps, or there could be like a lot of like other resources like on your part-time that you'll be able to like get a hold of and then like learn something, or like there's a lot of like people around you that you can practice with. So there's a lot of way you can do it. Really like what is the best for you. It will be like different for everyone else, but I highly recommend the async product management Coursera course.
Yes, this is one of the courses, but we do have 2 specializations in Coursera. It's real world product management, and then real world cloud product management. So you have both specializations. Both were created by Nancy Wan, who is part of AWS. So it's also a good preparation for an AWS certification. You can scan the QR and you will get more info there, or you can ping us later, send us an email, and we can share more information with you. But basically, it's a specialization on product management that it's working pretty good, and hopefully it will continue doing like that. Thank you so much, everyone there. Thank you, Aima. You have there our email, hello@advancingwomenintech.org. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Shirley, for your time. It was an amazing presentation. Thank you for sharing your personal and professional experience. It's very, very powerful for all of us to hear that it is possible. And if you want to, if you really, really want to, you can do it. So thank you so much. You can also join our job board. We are posting new jobs here. We want to help you all growth and reduce the gender gap in the tech industry. We are Advancing Women in Tech. Follow us in LinkedIn. We'll see you tomorrow in our session for preparing for product management interviews. Thank you so much, all. See you tomorrow. Thank you again, Shirley.
Thank you. Bye.